Most young guys in the gym are making huge mistakes without even realizing it. And these mistakes, they're not just slowing down your progress. They could potentially ruin your physique and wreck your joints for life. Because if you don't know what to actually focus on, you'll end up looking like a potato instead of actually building that aesthetic, muscular body. And trust me, I know, I've been there, bro. My name's Nick, and I went from this to this, learning the hard way of what actually works, as well as what's bro science BS. And in this video, I'll break down the 5 biggest mistakes that no one warns you about, and that you can stop wasting time with and start seeing real gains. Because some of these mistakes could not only cost you months of progress, they can permanently mess up your body. Without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, and the biggest mistake that noobs make, is cutting off their range of motion. When you're not using a full range of motion, not only are you missing out on gains that you could have gotten, and in particular, the stretched part of the muscle. I see this in every gym I train at. So many people, when they're benching, they don't go all the way chest to bar, or when they're doing lat pull downs or pull-ups, they don't fully stretch their lats when they're doing the movement. The reason this is the biggest gym mistake is not only that you're missing out on gains, because it's shown through studies that the lengthened portion of the muscle under tension promotes the biggest amount of growth, but also helps prevent injury. When you hear people say they tore their muscle, or this one guy who tore his pec or tore his bicep, at what point of the movement do you think they actually tore their muscle? Is it here? Or is it out here? Do you think people tear their muscles when they're fully scrunched and contracted? No, they tear it as it's lengthening. So the best way to prevent getting fucked up is to lower the weight and use a fuller range of motion. Go fully contracted to fully lengthening on whatever it is you're doing. Preacher curls, bench press, pull-ups, barbell rows. When I was just getting started in the gym, I was scared to do preacher curls because I had friends in the gym who talked about how they saw people tear their bicep from preacher curls. And it's always the people who don't use a full range of motion that this happens to. Whenever you do a preacher curl, most people will fully contract and then they'll stop at about here and then they'll come back up. They do not go through a full range of motion, fully extending the elbow. The problem with this is they're doing preacher curls like this the entire time from when they started training up until now, putting on weight, stacking on weight, and they've been training their bicep in this range of motion. And when the weight gets too heavy for you, you start getting pulled beyond this range of motion, and the biceps can't handle it. They are not prepared to resist against this load in this range of motion, and that's where they tear. So don't be dumb, use a full range of motion, and if you have to, lighten the load. The second biggest mistake that's so common is ego lifting. Overloading the weight too soon, although it's cool, it's dangerous, bro. Now, I'm not gonna shout from a place that I've actually been in. I've been there, bro. I've ego lifted. And if you wanna know the definition of ego lifting, I have a story for you. So I literally took a girl to watch me hit leg day. Squatting, deadlifting, the whole 9 yards. I almost blew my back out because of it. Now, that obviously wasn't the intention. I ended up screwing myself trying to screw her. And after that session, I couldn't go hard in the gym for at least a week after that. So don't ego lift, especially for women or even your mates. Trying to match someone's weight when you're working out with them or try to impress them with more weight on the bar is silly because you're all climbing at different parts of the mountain. So trying to match strength level is just dumb. Now, the third biggest mistake is not stretching before you train. When you're showing dead ass no mobility and your shoulders are clicking and they're cold and you can't go down fully in a dumbbell press, then there's some issues there. And you have to sort that out before you start trying to up the weight. But also outside the gym, when your day starts, have a stretching routine. Me personally, I've been doing the same quick morning stretch routine for 4 minutes every morning after I wake up every day. Not only does it keep me pain-free, it sets me up for the day. I feel loose, I feel ready, I feel like I can go for a run instantly, or I feel like I can do any form of exercise without preparing, even though I have prepared. If you have a morning stretch routine that you follow, you don't fuck up your joints and you improve your mobility to get a deeper stretch and boost your range of motion and all that in the gym. If you have a morning stretch routine, then you don't have to worry about your joints or spending too long warming up, and you can get straight into your workout. And you're not feeling cold and you're ready to crush those fucking weights. I don't care if in the gym, when you're warming up, you look kind of dorky because you're doing the dead hangs, arm circles and shit. But the thing is, your body is a vehicle up the mountain of fitness. And you think you can climb that shit when your ankles and your knees are all buckled up? No, not unless you're David Goggins. And even he stretches for like 2 to 4 hours every night. Stretching isn't for pussies, bro. If you care about your physical health and transforming your identity physically, then just stretch, bro. So get that stretching routine on point. The fourth mistake that is subtle, but very important that many young gym bros forget to realize is making sure they don't have shitty posture in the gym. I'm not talking about how you walk, although that definitely helps. You need to fix your posture with every exercise. You should treat doing a set like a job interview. And by that, I mean maintain an upright posture, chest out, shoulders back and down. This helps engage the target muscle group with a fuller range of motion. Think about it. If your shoulders are back and down, when you're doing bench press, you get a deeper stretch in the pecs. You get a deeper stretch in your biceps when you're doing bicep curls. Think about it. Would you have a bigger range of motion when you're hunched over doing curls, or when you're upright, your arms are extended back and down and you're doing curls? You'd obviously have a bigger range of motion doing the latter. Pick an exercise, and good posture is part of it. If you don't have good posture, like shitty posture on bench press, from not bringing my shoulders back and down, I fucked up my rotator cuff and couldn't bench as much weight for weeks. So get your posture right, and you'll not only be improving your form with exercises and avoiding injury in the gym, but you'll also be looking more confident in daily life. Isn't that what we're trying to improve ourselves in the gym for? To level up in other areas of our life? You'll look more confident socially, you'll be able to have more confidence talking to girls and flirt with them, and you'll stand out as a higher value man. No room for Jeffries around here. The fifth very major mistake that young guys make in the gym is not prioritizing recovery. And it's so backwards when beginners think that more gym equals more gains, when for one, you don't even need to be doing that many sessions as a beginner. You can be getting your best amount of gains doing 3 sessions, 4 sessions per week. But you're young, you just want to go all the time and you just want to push yourself every single session, thinking that if you're not constantly training, you're missing out on progress. That's counterproductive, because in the gym, you're not building muscle, you're breaking down muscle. This is stunting your growth, not giving your muscle enough time to repair what you damaged and recover and increase muscle mass slightly more to prepare for the next session is counterproductive, and you're fatiguing yourself and you're just drilling yourself into a hole. That's like when in a video game, you're using up your mana, which is like capacity to cast spells and shit, and you're using it constantly, and you're not letting the bar refill so you can actually do some damage. And then when the tank runs out, you're just, and then you get slain and then you're dead, because you're more likely to injure yourself when you're not mentally sharp. And when you're burnt out, your performance drops. You're not even going to be able to lift as much, and you won't be motivated to lift heavier loads. So what you do instead is to schedule rest days. Have multiple rest days per week to allow your muscle to grow and repair, and the fatigue from the gym to drop, so that you can go into the next session with more vigor, more energy, and actually progress. And for sleep, you want to aim for 7 to 9 hours every single night. Anything less is not optimal, especially if you're growing, still going through puberty, or if you're serious about making huge physical change in not a long amount of time. Then you got to prioritize rest and recovery. And for the days when you still feel like doing something, active recovery is actually a very good outlet. And by active, I don't mean running a marathon or going for an intense hike up a mountain. Just go for a walk, walk your dog, go for a slight jog. So all these mistakes are things that I went through, and believe me, bro, I get it. And you may still feel like you aren't satisfied unless you ego lift, unless you keep stacking more weight on the bar or forget stretching. Because I tell you, the amount of young guys that I've looked in their general direction and my eyes started watering from them thinking that they're so cool because they press down a full stack on the cable machine when they're not using proper form. So I've done it before. Please don't be the next guy that someone looks at with cringy eyes. Number 3 is prioritizing stretching and making sure you actually have a stretching routine or a warm-up routine. Number 4, fix your damn posture. Get a freaking Superman chest going, get your shoulders back and down, and that will benefit you in all areas, not just the gym. And number 5, prioritize recovery. Make sure you're getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. All right, bro, so if you're ready to level up and stop making these rookie mistakes, be sure to join our school group. It's where all the real talk happens between young men just like you. Get exclusive training tips, in-depth strategies, and a community of like-minded men who are serious about getting gains. And we also have weekly calls with yours truly where you can ask whatever nutrition, training, or overall self-improvement questions. So click the link in the description and start climbing the mountain of fitness. No more lost potential.